some people said it was a light slap on the wrist. I thought it was a little bit heavy-handed, considering the fact that sign stealing from a lower end, this Connor Stallings or whatever, assistant there with the Michigan staff. Why don't you change your signs? Why would you keep the same signs anyways? Plus, and the other part they got hit with was, remember the stuff they were not they violated some of the COVID rules and all that, which is a bunch of nonsense. I thought it was pretty heavy-handed. $30 million show calls for. I mean, Harbaugh, 14 years. He's not coming back to college. Pretty much a 14-year ban, and then you've got some suspensions there from, I think, 3 games, if I'm not mistaken. Sharon Moore. I thought it was a little heavy-handed. What's your thoughts on this Michigan? Most people are calling it a slap on the wrist, I'll have to say. This sanctions that got handed down late last week, I think Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I feel it's a much ado about nothing in the money grab from the NCAA.
Okay.
And I say that, and I say that in a sense where it's not that they weren't cheating and they don't want to be seen as cheaters. It's the fact that you were going after a scapegoat. Like, you were finding, the Michigan sent somebody out there and be like, this is the guy who messed up. This is who's responsible. But I mean, they can't go back and take away championship status.
And they didn't vacate wins. No wins,
right,
no
and
championship.
Vacate wins. So they had to do something. So that was their out. Their out was, hey, we're not going to ruin your legacy as a university, but we were going to just charge the heck out of you and just grab as much money as we can. That will kind of affect your, like your team and how it's going to be built in the next few years. But that the next 2 years, there's still going to be 10.
Well, you're fading out a little bit, brother.
Division I.
There you are. Okay.
Yeah,
a little bit of delay there.
I mean, I'm sorry. But yeah, I don't think that's going to affect them. Maybe this year, next year, maybe it's going to affect them for the next 2 seasons. But they have enough alumni. They have enough backing from the community. They have enough backing from the university to keep them, afloat. This isn't a team that, like a SMU or a school like BYU, that if you take this, you hand out all these mandates, that will fall apart. So
yeah, they got a 5-star commitment this week. Also, I wanted to. Okay, yeah, a little bit delay there, Chief, but I want to say this before I lose track of thought. Urban Meyer throwing a little salt in the game here, said on a podcast yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, that Jim Tressel, remember Jim Tressel was essentially fired from Ohio State back in 2011 for tattoo scandal at Ohio State. Let me make sure I get this right here before I start making stuff up here. Okay, suspended 6 games since Jim Tressel, the national championship coach, 2011, essentially fired from Ohio State for players trading in Michigan or Ohio State memorabilia for tattoos. Okay. Tressel takes a he takes a job with it's like some kind of film editor or whatever, some small lower end job with the Colts. Then the commissioner Cadell suspends him for 6 games. Urban Meyer saying, does that affect Jim Harbaugh? Will he get suspended by the league? And my thing is, the league was more strict then on stuff like that, button in stuff. I don't think that'll happen. It could happen. Since Urban Meyer, I think he's really throwing a little Ohio State, Michigan shade there, bringing that up. What do you think about that, Mike?
I think that Harbaugh will be affected by this situation in the NFL, except for that
Okay.
how coaches will view him, and also maybe if it doesn't work out for him in LA, he might not be able to be a head coach, because a lot of these coaches have ties to the university anyway, to different universities
Yeah.
nationwide. So he might not be able to get rehired as a head coach if he no longer coaches the Chargers, not because of any kind of suspension, but because it's a it's about who you know, and 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 probably between his age and what has happened in prior universities, I think that maybe LA will be his last stop as a head coach, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
So
he very well made this play out Herbert's career, maybe win a Super Bowl or something of that nature, and then retire at maybe like 75 or something. I don't know. It's hard to tell what Harbaugh's going to do. Very competitive.
right.
Um, I think he may say something to Urban Meyer if he ever saw him, but it's Urban Meyer sounded a little jealous of Jim Harbaugh.
Well,
That's a
Urban
tough
Meyer.
call. Who would you take, Urban Meyer or Jim Harbaugh? Right now, I'll take Jim Harbaugh because Urban Meyer failed miserable. He failed so bad in the NFL that made him look bad. And Urban Meyer, look how bad it looked when he left Florida with all those players in trouble. And then the same thing at Ohio State.
I think for Urban Meyer, it was that he thought he could do whatever he wanted,
Yeah,
and that he thought that because the situation he was in, that nobody would say anything. But you can't, you know, with that kind of power and leadership, you need to produce, and you're surrounded by you were surrounded by students, or professional football players. So he didn't keep it professional, which is why he got fired. So
yeah.
as long as you keep it professional and be real, um, you're more likely to keep your job. So
Who would you take, Urban Meyer or Jim Harbaugh?
for Harbaugh,
Yeah.
um, at this rate, at this time, if you're talking about going back to a college university, I'd take Urban Meyer. But if you're talking about going into an NFL situation, I would take Harbaugh. They're two
Okay.
different minds playing two different.
Overall, who's a better coach, man? Harbaugh or Jim? If you just had to pick
I think
one, not for the NFL,
I
not
would
for
I would
college.
I think Urban Meyer is a better coach.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I don't think I
Maybe
don't think he's I don't think he's a
if he would have been a little
I
bit
don't think
more
he's a
patient.
better yeah, I don't think he's a better person, but I just think he was a better coach. Like you
Well, he's
can't
got three titles to one, but still,
like
I'm
he
looking
did what
at
he
full
no,
body of work.
yeah, well, no matter where Urban Meyer went, he was in the running for a championship, except for when he went into the NFL.
Yeah, and he couldn't even finish the season. It was so bad. But
So,
my thing is, Harbaugh's a better overall coach because he's successful in the NFL. Especially if he can win a Super Bowl. I think
yeah,
that would definitely separate him from Urban Meyer.
right. And then I feel like this Harbaugh was a quarterback in the NFL
Yeah.
at the highest point, and when the NFL was tough. That's why he gets more credit, because he was actually on the field, and he got the snot beat out of him when he was with Chicago, when he was with Indianapolis, and all those, and even when he was with the Ravens. So that's why he gets a little bit more respect from players. But at the end, like if I'm looking at from the outside, him playing
Yeah.
in the NFL does have nothing to do with the fact that Urban Meyer has won and changed cultures and universities when he's been there to be winning.
Okay. Yeah.
So
He's a better turnaround coach, much quicker there, very intense. That's why he got those